بقي من الربا إن كنتم مؤمنين فإن لم تفعلوا فأذنوا بحرب من الله ورسوله وإن تبتم فلكم رؤوس أموالكم لا تظلمون ولا تظلمون يمحق الله الربا ويربي الصدقات والله لا يحب كل كفار أثيم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, Jazakallah khair for tuning in. And I'm asking everyone, please, if you would subscribe and share this video, subscribe to the channel and share this video out. This is an introduction to, as the title says, an introduction to a 100% halal wealth building system that the Muslims can employ to help build wealth in their for individuals, for families, communities, our masajid, and other institutions within the community, and our business community all benefit from this. And what we will go on, inshallah, to present to you in this brief introduction to a wealth building system, which the Muslim Group Economics Collective, numbering about 700 members right now, including Masajid, students of knowledge, and business people, and of course, every day, Ahl al-Ilm, the general population of the people, the regular folk, just like you and I, most of us, right? So we're trying to include everyone in this presentation in terms of addressing them, to introduce them, and hopefully to create some synergy, some activity and questions. And hopefully we'll be able to provide all of the answers for you. But this is a system that it's about moving us as Muslims away from the debt based, riba laden system that we are currently operating in, and move us back to gold as our money. As you see behind me, the dinar is our symbol that we're using because we're moving back to gold. Gold as our money, gold as the wealth building system, what we use to pay for goods and services. Now, mind you, this won't happen overnight, and no one is suggesting that. However, what I am suggesting in this short presentation and is that we have to start somewhere, and we have to recognize that the system that we're currently in, regardless and of what some might think, that there is a way to operate within this system that is built on debt, and that debt is financed by riba. And in fact, there's a saying which is very true: if there were no debt, there would be no currency, because every single currency existing today is part of a debt system. It is riba. It is also what we call fiat. And we welcome all questions. We welcome all points of view to bring to discuss this. The issue is this: is that we need to recognize where we are so that we can move on. And I'm not going to get into some of the points that I would like to make, because I want to keep this short. So what I really want to do is to present to every single one of us an opportunity to look at what we're doing, and to hopefully uh, see that there's a better way. I'm going to play for you right now. It's about 8 minutes, and please bear with me. I think you'll find it interesting, and an interesting position presented by one of our brothers who is talking about riba and why we should avoid it. He also definitely brings the point that I bring all the time, and that is that the system we're in right now is a system that is built upon debt and is inextricably connected to that which we should avoid by all costs because of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said about this and his messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam have said about riba. So please take a listen to this, and hopefully when we come back, I'll present just a little more, and then we'll have something about the system that I'm talking about and why we should all be part of it. Take a look at this.
The sin of riba. It is by far the most underestimated of the 7 destructive sins of the mubiqat. Zina is very obvious, adultery and murder and stealing. And you think about these types of sins and you think horrible. But the Prophet ﷺ mentions that 1 dirham, a penny of interest, is more grievous in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than adultery with a family member, than incest. So if someone sees that someone's engaging in riba or someone's engaging, no big deal. But the way we shun zina or adultery or murder, or alcohol, these other prohibitions, right? There's a problem here. And we have to ask ourselves, why are some sins normalized to us and others not? And don't claim that it's Islam. Why are some sins more disgusting to us and abhorrent to us than not? Why would riba be worse than zina? Why would riba be worse than adultery? And Imam al-Baghawi rahimahullah said on a societal level, he said, when the economy collapses, when the poor become poorer and the rich become richer, he said the rich become more prone to zina and alcohol and corruption and lust, and the poor become more likely to dwell in their sorrow in those very same sins. Isn't that interesting? The rich indulge in more fahisha, the poor indulge in more fahisha. Fahisha are the shameless sins. The rich because of access, the poor because of sorrow and depression. So they're likely to find, their escape, in that brown paper bag, the cheap alcohol in the brown paper bag, whereas the rich are likely to find their joy in expensive bottle of vodka. But he said that the collapse of inequity that riba causes forces people into those directions anyway. So subhanAllah, I thought that was a very powerful way to address this, that it pushes people in the direction of all of those sins. He also said because people don't take riba, or some of the scholars mentioned, they don't take it seriously. They don't take riba as seriously as we just mentioned, which is very obvious to us. And also, the scholars mentioned because riba hurts and harms at a much greater scope than the other sin. So riba causes more societal harm than those other sins that are likely to really just shame a person's self. You're contributing to a system that continues to impoverish and continues to lead people to a very bad place. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentions, if you look towards, and it's the sequence, if you look at the end of Surah Al-Baqarah, 2nd chapter of the Quran, there's a verse of charity, a verse of riba, a verse of charity, a verse of riba, a verse of charity, a verse of riba. So Allah is drawing a contrast between people who spend in charity and people who deplete others through the practice of usury. It's interesting. So Allah mentions, الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُمْ سِرًّا وَعَلَانِيَةً, those who spend from their money in private and in public, day and night. لَهُمْ أَجْرُهُمْ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ, they have their reward with Allah. They're not seeking a reward in this world. They have their reward with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ, they're not going to be afraid, they're not going to grieve in the hereafter, right? So Allah is praising these people. The next verse is the verse about riba. There's a verse about people that engage in usury. Why is that? Why is that? Societally, if people do what they're supposed to do with their charity, then those who would typically have to resort to paying interest don't have to do so. If the system is functioning properly, where a person that cannot afford education has people that are spending on them anyway, where the system is built in a way to take care of those who would typically need to resort to an unfavorable contract, then you don't have to resort to riba. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about it from a societal perspective. This is what happens. You also have on the individual level, when people embrace that when people have money, they view it as a burden. This is a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What do I need to do with this money? So they give from the money rather than the greedy person trying to grow their portfolio. The person who gets and who feels that sense of debt to Allah will spend day and night, privately and publicly. The burden is on the rich to give, not on the poor to squirm. right? And that's really what we see. The burden is on the rich to give. They're the ones that are afraid. They're the ones that are out there trying to look for the poor to give to. That society was created with the Prophet ﷺ's message. It happened. It lasted. That was a situation that did come about in certain Muslim societies. The rich feel the burden, not the poor. And that's something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates through this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives this example of the person, or says that the one who consumes riba, the one who consumes usury, will not stand on the day of judgment except like the standing of a person being beaten by his devil, leading him to insanity. Then the next verse mentions, or 4 verses later rather, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions فَأْذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ, that if you don't give this up, then be ready, prepared for a battle with Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is what Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said. He said, on the day of judgment, the only one that would stand in this state, being beaten literally to a point of insanity every time he stands up, is this person. He said not even the disbeliever would be treated this way, or anyone treated this way. This is a person who deals in riba, standing up and being beaten into insanity, and then after he's been beaten into insanity, he's told, take your weapons and prepare for war with your Lord and with the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Can you imagine that state? Being told the war now starts between you and Allah and the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from being in that state. So there's the individual, then there is again يَمْحَقُ اللَّهُ رِبَا وَيُرْبِي الصَّدَقَاتِ. Allah destroys riba and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increases charity. A system can survive without riba. A system cannot survive with riba. The global economic collapses. Look at what the cause is, because we're constantly building upon this bubble, and then eventually the bubble pops because it's imaginary money. It's not really there. A system that is laced with riba is a system that's meant to fail over and over and over again. It's a system that will lead to bitterness, and that will lead to poverty, and that leads to great economic disparity and all types of things. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions يَمْحَقُ اللَّهُ riba. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroys riba وَيُرْبِي الصَّدَقَاتِ. Linguistically, the word riba means increase. The word zakah also means increase, but the word zakah means increase with purification. And the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in a hadith from Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, it's an authentic hadith, he said there is no person who deals in riba, meaning to increase their wealth, except that he will end up with qillah, with a little bit of wealth. Meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will actually deplete his wealth as a result of his increasing in that wealth. Now, did the Prophet ﷺ understand that there would come a time where riba spreads? Of course, all major sins spread and all of these things take over. And he mentioned sallallahu alaihi wasallam that there would come a time, even a person who does not consume riba, some of its vapor or its dust will reach him, the ghubar, it will touch him somehow. Even if you try to stay away from it, somehow you're going to be engaged in it. If you have a bank account, you're engaged in it. Even if you don't want to, but you're engaged in it. You have a credit card, you're engaged in it to some capacity. You're always somehow going to be touched by that system. However, it becomes a point that we don't knowingly engage ourselves in riba in any way. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said that Allah curses the one who consumes riba, the one who gives it, the one who witnesses over it, and the one who writes down the transaction. وَهُمْ فِي الْوَزْنِ سَوَاء. And they are all equal in the sin. And all of them are equal in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this takes away this idea, because people downplay more so than taking riba, people downplay paying riba. There are very few Muslims who would be shameful enough to actually take riba, but to pay it because you're forced in a situation. So the shamelessness of taking it is one thing, but to pay it, well, I've got this, well, I've got this, well, I've got this. So the Prophet ﷺ is saying they are all equal in sin, even those that are affected by mutual consent.
Now, alhamdulillah, I hope you got a chance to really listen to that presentation about riba and its harmful effects and its warnings that we have from Allah and His Messenger regarding riba. Now, some may have a question of whether or not we're actually in a debt system, and for that, there's a larger discussion. But the fact of the matter is that even the Federal Reserve, who is responsible for this system in terms of raising the interest rates, increasing the money supply, we all know that what they call repo is in effect right now, and that's where they're bailing out on a daily basis during the week the banks that have low liquidity, and they do not have the required funds on hand to operate according to the law in which they're operating. In other words, the banks are failing. Every bank, you would like to know if your bank is on that list, because that means that your bank is really in a position where it could fail. Now, of course, the Federal Reserve, FDIC, they're going to step in and try to, make things right. But how long and how many banks will fail before they get there, and how much impact is that going to have on you? Not only are they doing repo, um, which means, and I mean, when I say repo, they are handing out these short-term loans to banks that don't have enough to make it, right? Uh, at somewhere between 60 to 100 billion dollars a day, right? Additionally, I think last month they pumped about $80 billion into buying back bonds, the treasuries, right? So that is only going to get worse as time goes on. As you know, there are a lot of, and unfortunately, I do not have, but I'll share with you on our next broadcast. Some of the articles that we have put aside showing that, for instance, GE has 20,000 pensioners no longer are pensioners. They don't have a pension anymore. There are um, about over 100,000 stores have been closing. About 12,000 will be closing by the end of 2019. When I say stores, we're talking about, of course, you probably all heard about Toys R Us, Payless, um, CVS is closing stores. Of course, you know about Sears, you know about Kmart. There are many in there. Forever 21, going down the list, there are many businesses. Some of them traditional business. For instance, Sears and Toys R Us have been around longer than I've been alive. They are traditional, really staple businesses for the American economy, but that exist no more. But anyway, let me move on because that can take us off a track. The point is this, is that as Muslims, we should be dealing in a real money system. The real money is not the paper that is printed that we say is fiat. No longer has any backing. And let me um, really kind of remove a misconception that some people are still holding, even though the U.S. currency has not been backed by gold, has not had it has been fiat, no backing whatsoever since 1971, August of 1971, where President Nixon at the time temporarily suspended the convertibility of the U.S. dollar to gold, and that had more to do with international um, with countries rather than people here in the U.S. because it had been some time since citizens of the U.S. could get their hands on gold when they went to the bank. That stopped in 1933 with President Roosevelt. But again, I digress. I want to show you something. That's real money there. That's actually gold embedded within those bills. We call that cash gold. I'm going to show you a little more about that later. And here we go. Here, that is a 5-gram card. That's just under $300 worth of gold in there. 5 grams of pure gold. Many of you, and I'm probably only maybe 1% or much less than 1%, have ever had their hands on pure gold. When I say pure gold, I'm not talking about 18 karat, 14 karat, 10 karat, 21 karat even, or 22 karat. I'm talking about 24 karat gold, and not just 24 karat gold, but the top of the 24 karat gold category, meaning 4 nines gold. And it is sometimes referred to as uh, um, currency grade gold. It is the gold that banks deal with. You and I should be dealing in that, and we can be. Pure gold is our money. Electronically, we can use it. Physically, we can use it. And we have other means in which we can move to a goal based system and actually accumulate wealth, build wealth in our community while doing business. Can you imagine that? Just think about that. We can build wealth while doing business. I'm gonna show you a little something. Maybe it's just an introduction to this company. It's a company out of Stuttgart, Germany called Carrot Bars International. This company is operating, and that means that you and I and all of us affiliates could be operating as I am in 145 countries. We have business partners all over the world. We have our general part, and it's for everyone. It's not just for the Muslims, mind you. Understand something. We are, as within this system, attempting to create a block where we can work together and leverage our wealth, our ability in order to leveraging it to create more wealth rather than create debt. We do financial education workshops. We teach about how you can reduce your taxable burden legally, ethically, and morally using in the United States the IRS tax code. It's illegal. It's legal. For most W-2 workers are paying between 30 to 50% of their earnings in taxes, much of it before they even get their deposited check, right? Much of it. By the time they get it, they've already taken out 18 to 22%, some even more, 27%, before you even get paid. But legally, ethically, and morally, and we show you how that can stop. We do financial education workshops. We travel to do those. We're just kicking those up. I'm in the Lanham area here in the United States, and we're going up and down the East Coast to do these in communities so that we can teach people. Again, this system, let me go on. Let me just show you this here. Take a look at this, and then I'll come back and I'll share some more information with you. Take a look at this.
Carrot Bars International, founded in 2011, Stuttgart, Germany, by Senator Dr. Harold Seitz. Now active in more than 130 countries with over 600,000 customers and business partners. The company's excellent reputation is reflected by long-term partnerships with global brands including FedEx and MasterCard. The core mission is clear: creating wealth and eliminating debt by making gold affordable and available to everyone. This is achieved with the Carrot Bars product line, which so far includes Cash Gold, which is gold in the form of physical notes or digitally with Carrot Pay. The K1 phone, the world's first decentralized phone with an integrated payment system. A global network of ATMs to distribute cash gold to the people. Carrot Merchant, the revolutionary POS software which can be integrated into any offline or online business and allow them to accept gold as payment. Financial freedom is already being achieved by many of our partners. Be part of this revolution as we bring our products to millions of customers worldwide. Stake your claim. Take part in the 21st century gold rush.
All right. Now, that's just a little, it's a very brief overview of what this company offers here. It's a very brief overview. Sorry about that, guys. So, but it gave you an idea. Who are our partners? FedEx. I didn't show you that, did I? We get paid. We get our gold delivered by FedEx. I don't have a FedEx box around here to show you, but we get our gold delivered by FedEx, and we have our own MasterCard. If you can see up there in the left and the right upper corners, that says Carrot Bars, right? The same company that produces the gold. Carrot Bars International. We're an international company in 145 countries, as I mentioned, and we have our partners. Delivery partner is FedEx. They deliver the gold to your door. You can actually take, that's the other thing. This is not ETFs, it's not contracts, it's not fake gold, it's real gold, and we get to hold it. We get to use it in transactions, and we get to use it in a form that no one else has the ability. They're not doing it. No one else is doing it. We're at the cutting edge. We also have, which is not mentioned here, but I'm going to mention it briefly. It's not mentioned in some of the information I'm going to bring to you, but you saw that they mentioned the Impulse K1. That is a phone that we have that is a blockchain phone, voice over blockchain. It is innovative. It is a game changer, a disruptor in the telecommunications industry because it's taking voice across the blockchain rather than the IP. That's another longer discussion. Don't want to really get into that, but let me just say this. It is revolutionary, it is innovative, and it is ours. Open source, however, as we go down the line, will other companies will be using our product of voice over IP, just as rather voice over blockchain, just as voice over IP is being used by everyone. Skype, WebEx, we're using voice over IP right now. You name it, down WhatsApp, all of that. Your smartphone would not exist. And where is my smartphone? Your smartphone would not exist if it were not for a thing called voice over IP. You remember back in the day when you used to have to pay for minutes? Did you ever ask yourself, why aren't we paying for minutes anymore? That's because you're paying for data. And the IP network is the network in which data traveled across earlier almost exclusively. And now you have voice, you have video, you have text, you have all sorts of apps that have come into existence, and you have phones that have power that you formerly had no idea would come into existence. But here it is. I've been in the telecommunications industry now since 2001. I saw this coming. I was actually watching it happen as I was studying how voice and data would merge. They called it converge. Converged the two and made what we have today and we take for granted. Well, voice over blockchain is an amazing, again, system that has come about that will revolutionize the way we communicate. But the main thing that it offers us is safety, security, end-to-end encryption. The cost is much lower. The data compression is great. So, literally, let me just say this. Um, so I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on because I don't want to make this too long, and we can talk about all of this later. I'll be placing in the description a lot of information, including how we meet on a weekly basis, several times a week. We have two meetings that we scheduled. One of them is Friday evenings after Maghrib, New York time, about 25 minutes after Maghrib on Fridays, New York time, we meet live online in our room we two places, one on Zoom, and you can join us in our Facebook room as well. And we're working on trying to also make that available on YouTube. But for those of you who don't have Facebook, you'll be able to join us in the Zoom room simply by clicking the link that'll be in the description of this video. Additionally, what we do is, and there's a second meeting, you'll have that time as well, and the link is the same, so that we can get together and talk in real time about what this is, and we'll be there to answer your questions. Additionally, we have one of our brothers who is a graduate, a PhD in Islamic banking and finance, who we're going to get him involved in that conversation. He's also one of our business partners here. We're going to bring him on and inshallah and have him in those meetings as well, so that a lot of your questions I can answer, the ones for the most part about Carrot Bars International and what we're offering and how it's compliant, and then he can answer the questions regarding to the Book of Allah and the Sunnah, the rules and what have you, and why we are 100% compliant. We moving on. Let's move on just a minute here, and I'll come back and I'll also share a little more with you. But what I want to do now, I want to share a second, little bit more. Let's see, what did we talk about that time? We were on, yes. Okay, so here, the phone. I was talking about the phone, right? Now this one here is a couple of minutes, about 2.5 minutes long, but I want you to bear with it. It is amazing, fantastic. What we're offering here, again, revolutionary, and it helps to put money in our pockets. It's about building a residual stream of income. Every one of us gets one of these. Did you know that? Every single one of us. You sign up, you automatically get a MasterCard. There's a whole lot more involved as well. So we'll talk about that too. But here you go. Take a look at this about the Impulse K1 phone. Amazing. Alhamdulillah.
This is the universe with infinite numbers of possibilities. Imagine how it would be like if you could be here and there at the same time, having different activities. This might seem impossible in our daily life, but crypto data engineers applied the theory of relativity in virtual reality to obtain the most advanced telecommunication technology, matrix identity. The matrix ID allows the users to create an infinity of unique phone numbers and to use them with an infinity of unique organizations. Also, our new technology has an advanced security system. Here is why. Because everything in blockchain is decentralized, the validity and uniqueness of your wallet's ID are continuously verified by miners from all over the world, which makes your identity impossible to be hacked. Combining all the information, crypto data engineers have created Impulse K1 smartphone, because privacy is the new order. Combined with VOBP and integrated in both Impulse K1 and WIM, the new technology eliminates taxes and third parties. How is this possible? Let's compare the actual technology with the Matrix ID. Usually, if you want to have more phone numbers, you must have multiple devices or more SIM cards. For example, if you want to have a number for work, one for the family, one for business, or for any other purpose, you must have more phones or switch the SIM cards in the same phone. This means more money, wasted time, and stress. If you want to call somebody in another country or network, you will have extra costs. With Matrix ID, you don't even need a SIM card. You only need the Impulse K1 device. This technology allows you to create an infinite number of wallets and to assign them an ID. These IDs can be registered in one or more organizations and to set a pack of rules. Also, with Matrix ID, you can create your own organization and offer you the possibility to set your own personalized pack of rules. Smart, secure, and user-friendly.
Okay, all right. So that's it. It was brief, but I think it gave you a bit of an idea about what Impulse K1 offers. It's a whole lot more to the Impulse K1 smartphone. The phone allows you to have privacy, end-to-end encrypted communications, your all of your text, all of your transmissions of audio, video, um, you name it. Everything is secure, and that's the beauty about it, is that it's all about, and one of the things that people are concerned about today is their privacy. This protects your privacy, and it also is very inexpensive, very inexpensive. And that's something we could get into. When I say very inexpensive, um, to operate about $8 a month. um, you also you have opportunity to, as they mentioned, have other uses. For instance, if you want one for your private calls and your private business, your personal, one for your business, you can have two profiles. They're about $8 each per month, and they each have a different number to communicate with. That's something we get into down the line, but the phone itself is remarkable. But now I want to quickly go into the second one. This is something else. The phone, and it has a sister, a laptop. It's called the WIM laptop. And it also has the same features across the blockchain, unlimited storage on the blockchain. It's stored the data, things that you want to store, files, um, data on the blockchain, um, encrypted. Only you can get to it, and so it's amazing. So, but here, take a look at this. This is a pretty quick one. I think it's about a minute long, but it'll give you just a quick overview about the laptop. Take a look at this. Now, you notice you keep saying a phrase there. It says privacy is the new order. And that's one of the main things this talks about is that this system allows you privacy, security, of all of your information. Um, if you and I are carrying on a conversation, that conversation is between A and B, and no one can see their way into it, not even the alphabet organizations. Not, well, who's the phone carrier? There is not, we are the phone carrier. However, it is on the blockchain, which is a system that is totally encrypted, cannot be, pried into, right? And that's something, again, it takes a deeper conversation to get into that, answer your questions. But again, the laptop is something that will, for you and I, make a way for us to um, create a residual stream of income, another feed into that stream, which hopefully for many of us will become a river, right, of income to the point that I'm not going to talk a lot about how much I earn or anyone else earns. Let me just say this: it has the ability to give you time freedom and location freedom. Think about that. Freedom of time and location, while at the same time you're involved in business and creating jobs, not working a job, but creating jobs. Um, the thing I want to show you right now is amazing. It's super. Early I mentioned, or did I? I mentioned we have our own blockchain. We have our own cryptocurrency. If you haven't heard about cryptocurrency, we have the gold backed cryptocurrency, which makes our cryptocurrency what? Unlike Bitcoin and most of probably the overwhelming majority of the rest of them, which have no um, asset backing. They are like the US dollar in that they're in a lot of ways they're still built on debt, but they don't have an asset behind them. So they are creating wealth or money out of thin air. They just create it and it exists, and then it of course there's some, just like the US dollar, just like the dollar, the pound, the euro, the yen or whatever. There's a use for them because we're in a system that has been designed for them to be used. But also, They are a means, a method by which they extract wealth from the working class. They extract wealth, and there are a few, a very few, some refer to them as the 1%, the oligarchy, whatever you want to call them, but they are those few who are having that wealth extracted from them, while all of the time they're chasing it and chasing it and chasing it, but they won't get there. Few ever achieve wealth, and very few from working a 9 to 5 or W-2 job, right? Businesses create wealth. However, unfortunately, there's this vast difference or gap between the CEO and workers. Some CEOs are making 10, 20 million a year and more, and and while workers are trying to survive in a system that is constantly extracting from them. Even what's his name, Warren Buffett was talking about his secretary pays more taxes percentage wise than he does. He pays about 17%, and his secretary is paying about 36% in tax. You know, and that, so the point is that she makes a lot less, and even though she's probably making good money as the secretary for Warren Buffett, right? But more than many of those of you out there, myself included, who are working in a system like this. But I'm freeing myself and my family through this system, through this wealth building system. And so we're breaking loose. I sometimes refer to us as the 21st century Harriet Tubman's. It's the Underground Railroad. It's the Freedom Train. All of that. So anyway, let's move on. One other thing I think I wanted to show you. Oh, mention that we have our own cryptocurrency. We also have our own point of sale system for that cryptocurrency. Understand? We have our own point of sale system for the cryptocurrency. Amazing. And guess what? It's another opportunity to create a stream that feeds into your residual income, right? It's free for the merchant to get it. For the first 6 months, they enjoy it and get to test drive it and kick the tires. While at the same time, it opens up a whole nother um, uh, client class or customer base for them who wants to spend cryptocurrency. There's no fees for the merchant nor for the customer at the point of sales. The merchant actually gets fee-based commissions, so they actually get a couple of benefits. One, they're opening up another customer base, client base, what have you. They have the ability to take that and earn from it through that the fee-based commissions. Additionally, they get a chance to decide when they come in, someone comes in and they spend Bitcoin, for instance, right? They can say, well, I don't want the Bitcoin. I want those to be dollars. So that customer just paid $100 for this item. I don't want the $100 worth of Bitcoin. I want $100 worth of US dollars or francs or whatever you are in the world, 145 countries. What happens is at the point of sales, at the time of sales, the value of that Bitcoin converts to dollars and goes into the merchant's account. Amazing. Take a look at this, and this will explain it probably better than I just did.
Every day, more people are learning about blockchain and buying cryptocurrency. Until now, the problem for consumers has been where to spend it. Retailers have been reluctant to accept cryptocurrency due to its volatile nature. Who wants to get paid for something and lose money on the sale, right? Thanks to the brains at Carrot Bars International, this problem has been solved with the revolutionary K-Merchant software. Let's look at how it works. Bob has some cryptocurrency and wants to buy a new car. So he goes to his local dealership, who has decided to use K-Merchant. The software is free to install on any iOS or Android device and comes with a range of plugins or an API for online sellers. So Bob picks his car and pays with his coins. Easy. The dealership chooses whether to accept the cryptocurrency or, and this is what's new, instantly turn it into his local fiat currency, which means he has no cash flow or volatility issues. An instant transaction with no cost for the buyer or seller. So how can it be free? K-Merchant doesn't need to charge Bob or the dealership anything because K-Merchant generates business income with AI trading on their associated exchanges, which are linked into the software. In simple terms, there are no costs for installation, no fees to be paid, and zero risk for the business. K-Merchant even offers free advertising on a global online map. Now, any business in the world can accept cryptocurrency, and anyone can spend it. The vehicle for mass adoption has arrived. Don't miss out on being the first cryptocurrency acceptance point in your town. Click the link under this video to register your business now.
All right, all right. Did you see that? Amazing, right? Fantastic. It it doesn't matter. We just had a case reported to us the other week because we just went live with the point of sales along with our blockchain on the 15th of September. Already, there's one individual. He purchased a home using this system. Now he didn't just purchase the home. He had the builder. He bought the land and the builder to build the home, and he paid them upfront without any banks involved. He was a Bitcoin holder. And just to let you know, Bitcoin has made more millionaires. We're not going to talk about the people who may have uh, ended up on the other side of that coin, but they've made more millionaires. I think somewhere like 23,000 millionaires in the last less than 48 months. And and again, our coin is different from that because our coin is gold backed, and it has also made a number of people very, very wealthy. And there's some who are still sitting in the seat riding this freedom train to a position where they have their residual income stream, they have a generational wealth transfer getting set in place, and they are putting themselves in a position where they can have time freedom and location freedom. So I think that was kind of it. One last thing before we go, before I do my closing remarks, did I told you we take physical possession of the goal. Now what I want to do is to show you something that is we call them CEMs. Initially, we were referring to them as as ATMs, but we call them cash gold exchange machines. A machine that's similar to an ATM, much better, where you can go up to it and you can exchange your fiat for gold. You can go into your account there and do exchanges within our on our exchange and withdraw in gold, or you can come up with a QR code. And I have a couple around here. I got one. I had to put some ink in my printer, so it didn't come out very clear for you. But we can you can go up with a QR code and scan it at the CEM and withdraw physical gold. So take a look at this. This is one of the first machines that were delivered. The first 500 have been shipped, and they are being delivered in Canada, United States, and South Africa. And we have others that are going in other locations as well. But take a look at this here. Very, very interesting.
Oh, check that out, buddy. Check that out. We're gonna do it. Oh, oh, oh. Sweet, eh? Oh, wait for a second. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Check that out. Cash gold, buddy. Cash gold. Yeah. Sweet.
All right. So that's the cash gold exchange machine. So he's literally able to pull, as I am, out of my account. Right. I can print out the cash gold. I can pull out the withdrawal slip, go to the machine, scan it, and pull out actual physical gold. right? Amazing. That's where we are. So it's about stacking. If you want to stack gold, if you want to use gold physical for purchases of goods and services, you want to use it electronically. We have our own app that you can pay for things at the point of sales in our K merchants and our K exchanges. For you can use gold to purchase, you can use your crypto to purchase, and so it is an amazing system that we're rolling out here, and we're in 145 countries, and this is just the first introduction, and I'm asking all of you out there, you're interested, the information will be in the bottom of in the description of this video, and if you find this on Facebook, you'll find the information also in the description of the video. So please don't hesitate to get in touch. You'll have all of our contact information there. You can also, we encourage you to join us in the Muslim Group Economics um, meetings on Fridays, and the other meeting I believe is going to be on Tuesdays at the same time. So this time in the evening after Maghrib, 25 minutes after Maghrib, U.S. time, New York time rather, and you'll be able to get into the meeting, and we can do a live one-on-one, rather mano a mano, not necessarily because we're looking to hopefully have a lot of people involved, but we'll be able to do a real time back and forth presentation and conversation and Q&A. So look forward to seeing you then, and I appreciate your time and please again, please subscribe to this page and share the video to all of your contacts. We're trying to get as many people involved in this as possible, and we're ready to present at any time, any place, to anyone. Jazakallah khairan. Ikwan, ahsan jazak. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.